Hello. Guys, before we get started, I just wanted to say you can get hoodies like this from my clothing line and scribbles.com. It's going to be down in the description below. So go check it out if you would. We're going to get into this. This is Dark Disney, Pinocchio. We're going to go through this together because I haven't even read these, but I know that they are. I've heard some of these before. When people visualize Pinocchio, they see the sweet young puppet with the desire to be a real boy. The Disney movie tells the tale of his adventures with his friend and advisor, Jiminy Cricket, and how they ultimately lead him to his dream of becoming a human. The original creator of Pinocchio, Carlo Collodi, was hoping for a different image. Collodi created the character for a serial story in Italian newspapers with the goal of showing kids the consequences of being bad. Collodi's Pinocchio was cruel and mischievous. His Jiminy Cricket was only referred to as Talking Cricket, and when the cricket tried to give Pinocchio some good advice, the puppet boy killed him with a mallet. Pinocchio is constantly tortured in different ways. Throughout the story, all punishment for bad behavior. Collodi initially ended the tale with Pinocchio's death, but because of an outcry from fans, Collodi was forced to continue, so he decided Pinocchio's life would be spared in exchange for even more gruesome punishments from that point forward. Yeah, and that's the real story of Pinocchio. In case you didn't know. Sorry, I don't know what's in these stories. I just know that they're terrifying. I didn't get to read them beforehand. They definitely are a lot darker than I thought they would be. But just a trigger warning right now. I have no idea what's in these, so if something triggers you, I apologize. Because I cannot edit it out because it's a live stream. So Cinderella. When Disney's Cinderella 2 came out in 2002, it turned out that Cinderella's evil stepsisters weren't as evil as they were shown in the first movie. One of them, Anastasia, was even featured having her own love interest with a baker, a relationship encouraged by Cinderella. The fate given to the two stepsisters by the brothers Grimm was not so forgiving in that fairy tale. The two girls cut off different parts of their feet in an attempt to fit into the slipper. Some doves swooped in to show the prince the blood on the shoe so he would not be fooled. At the end of the story, the stepsisters attended Cinderella's wedding only to have their eyes pecked out by the doves who had betrayed them earlier. Dark Disney's The Little Mermaid. Just gonna fall asleep to Aaron's horror story reading. Heck yeah. Good stuff. So this is The Little Mermaid. In Hans Christian Andersen's version of the tale, Ariel makes a deal with the sea witch in order to become a human and pursue the prince she saved in a shipwreck. She gets a pair of legs in exchange for her tongue. However, part of the deal is that every step she takes with this new pair of legs will feel like walking on shattered glass. If Ariel gets her true love's kiss, she can remain a human, but if she fails, she will die. The prince never actually saw Ariel's face when she saved him, so he ends up marrying someone else. The sea witch tells Ariel she can just turn back into a mermaid instead of dying if she kills the prince. Of course, Ariel cannot bring herself to do that. Instead, in dark Disney fashion, she throws herself into the ocean and dissolves into sea foam. Yeah. These are all news to me. I've heard some of these stories, but that's pretty nuts. So Bambi. Let's see how Disney spun the Bambi tale, a tale of a deer. Yeah. Bambi, A Life in the Woods, is a novel following a deer through his life growing up in the woods. Though Disney took this adult novel and turned it into a heartwarming Disney movie, the book touches on the circle of life, survival, man versus nature, etc. The book is also very violent. On Bambi's first walk into the woods, he witnessed a mouse get killed and heard creatures threatening each other with death. Later, after a hunter shoots Bambi and another deer, the great old prince teaches him to walk in circles and spread the blood so that the hunter gets confused. The great prince also showed Bambi the body of the dead hunter at the end of the story to prove that man is not all powerful. Wow. Whew, I didn't know that was the story of Bambi. The Hunchback of Notre Dame. I know this one's going to be nuts. I already could tell this one's going to be nuts. I can tell the Hunchback of Notre Dame is going to be nuts. The Hunchback of Notre Dame is one of Disney's darker films. Like the novel it's based off of, the movie is about a hunchback named Quasimodo who grew up in Notre Dame Cathedral, raised by an archdeacon named Frollo. Quasimodo and Frollo both fell in love with the same woman, Esmeralda. At the end of the film, Quasimodo pushed Frollo, the villain, off the roof of the cathedral, killing him. It's already uncharacteristically morbid for Disney, but the original novel by Victor Hugo has an even worse ending for the protagonist in Hugo's story. Frollo framed Esmeralda. That's why I think for the $2. Frollo framed Esmeralda for attempted murder, and she was sentenced to be hanged. Quasimodo still pushed Frollo off a roof, but it was because Frollo was laughing at Esmeralda's hanging. Goodness gracious. Quasi then goes to Esmeralda's grave and refuses to leave her, so he ultimately dies of starvation there. Hugo's book did not end happily for anyone. Goodness gracious. That's nuts. I didn't know that about... Wow. Disney's really dark. Disney's very dark. I had no clue. Goodness gracious, it's kind of ruined Disney's. This kind of is a ruin for Disney. Holy cow. That's pretty nuts. Snow White still gets her happily ever after in the original Brothers Grimm fairy tale. After the evil queen attempted 2 attempts to personally kill Snow White, she finally decided to try out the poison apple. It seemed to work, but then the prince swooped in with his true love's kiss to save her. In the end of this dark Disney story, Snow White and the prince are still married. However, the evil queen is at the wedding, and her punishment is that she has to dance around in iron-hot shoes, burning her feet until she dies. Even princesses get their revenge. That's nuts. I couldn't imagine. That's all the dark Disney that I can see right there. But yeah, that's pretty nuts. Had us wishing on a shooting star when half these stories are actually so grim. Isn't it crazy that Disney took some of these like pretty brutal stories and changed them into like better stories? Why did they choose those stories? You know? Why couldn't they have chose something that didn't have like a dark like past to it, you know? Why did Disney have to choose like that? You know? They chose the most gruesome stories. And it's not like one of them was gruesome. It's like all of the original ones were like really, really dark. Like Walt Disney had to be like, look, I'm going to make this not really safe for kids, you know, into a movie. And that's what was given to like kids. We all grew up with it, you know? It's like, what in what world would they choose that? You know, because you could have easily just come up with something that was heartwarming and had no disturbing background, you know? It didn't have like a disturbing like background to it, you know, or like all of that stuff. It's like where did like that come from, you know? And why do we like people like love Walt Disney, but it's like Walt Disney kind of is, I don't know, like Walt Disney is not, it doesn't sound like the greatest guy. Should we go into some Disney World conspiracy theories? Some Disney World. There's a Disney World creepypasta that's pretty scary. I don't know if you guys want to hear it, but if I can find it, it's pretty scary. I mean, Elsa was supposed to be the Snow Queen. Dude, she was locked in a room. She was locked away her entire life. That is depressing. And what if it's based on a true story of something, you know? I feel like Disney is also kind of doing a form of stealing. I mean, well, it's kind of like plagiarism if it's already made. But let's go into a Disney creepypasta. World creepy. Let's see if I can find it. It's don't try I think this one was it. Why I'll never work security at Disney World again. I think, yeah, this one was pretty scary, if I remember correctly. Yeah, this one's it. This one's scary. This one's pretty terrifying. So, if you guys are down, if you guys are ready, this one's a scary, scary story. Sit back. Don't relax. Here we go. I work in security at Disney World, the happiest place on earth. Typically, I wouldn't say where I work, as obviously there are some pretty strict rules about things employees can put online. But I just don't think I can tell this properly without that context. And honestly, I think this may be it for me anyway with this job. I can't see myself working here any longer now. I've been with the company for 23 years. The first 20 years I worked in the parks. Oh, that scared me. The first 20 years I worked in the parks, nabbing shoplifters and rounding up people who were drinking too much for the heat. Occasionally there'd be a fight to break up, but people usually keep it pretty mild. The heat and walking were getting too much for me the last few years, so I asked to be transferred somewhere with air conditioning, and the company moved me to one of their resorts. While the working conditions were 110% better as far as climate and comfort go, the guest issues are trickier, mainly domestics. I guess the expensive and stress of vacation got to a lot of people, and I'd be called by neighboring rooms because some mom and dad were yelling at each other. I try to suggest they take a nap or go do separate activities for a bit, and that would usually calm them down. But none of that is what I'm here for. I've got to get this out while I have time. 3 days ago, I got a call from management. Apparently a couple of days before that, housekeeping had gone into a room that should have been turned over that day. Turned over is when one guest leaves by about 11 a.m. and the next guest checks in around 3 p.m. And all of the guests' items were still in the room. Housekeeping made a note of it and moved on. But during the next 2 days, when they entered the room, everything was still there and untouched. I went to check it out, and sure enough, there was an empty room full of luggage. Clothes, snacks, some toys, everything a family would need for a vacation. The manager had already looked up the previous reservation, and it was for a family. Dad, mom, 2 little kids. I tried to call the phone numbers they had given, but all I got was voicemail. We were a bit stumped, so I made the call that housekeeper could clean the room and take the family's personal items to be held until we got in contact with someone. I went digging into the reservation more. The family had arrived 5 days before housekeeping discovered all of their stuff. I found that the family had paid a parking fee and their vehicle description was listed. A quick walk of the parking lots and I had easily located their vehicle. So that ruled out a car accident or them deciding to just leave all their stuff behind. Next, I saw that they had bought a dining plan. This is when a guest prepays for all of their food. They're given a certain number of credits to use for meals. This family had only used 3 credits, and the last one was 2 days after they had checked in. It appeared that the day they arrived, they got here late and probably just stayed on the resort. The next day, they used 2 credits at Epcot. The second park day, they used just 1 credit at the Magic Kingdom, and it was at breakfast time. Now, at Disney, We have something called magic bands. Magic bands are worn by the guests and act as a room key, park ticket, credit card, dining reservation payment, fast pass, a system used to bypass lines, and more. It took some work, but I was finally able to look up this family's fast pass history the day they went to the Magic Kingdom. They had breakfast at a restaurant in the park, rode a couple of rides, and then rode their last ride, It's a Small World, around 11 a.m. Then nothing. Finally, it was time to bring in someone else on this. I called an old coworker at the Magic Kingdom and asked him to pull security footage for It's a Small World at the time they wrote it, and I made my way over there. When I got there, my friend was very confused, almost distraught looking. He showed me what he had found. There's usually a camera in the direction of where rides load and unload. The footage showed them scanning their bands to use fast passes for the ride and boarding the ride. The footage from the exit of the ride just showed the other people in their car exiting. They weren't there. Of course, we thought the worst. Maybe one of the kids had fallen out and mom and dad and the other kid got off in the middle of the ride to help and they all got injured or killed or stuck in machinery somewhere. So we shut down the ride. Middle of the damn day. Turned off that earworm music and turned up the lights. My buddy and I walked that ride 3 times before we called in help. Eventually, there was close to 10 cast members searching and we didn't find shit, except for 3 cell phones and a hat. I was right stumped. I've kept digging the past couple of days and I'm not sure who to tell what I found next to. I've called the police and I suppose they're on their way, but the company has a way of covering up things like this and I decided I can't live with myself if I don't put out some type of warning. I kept digging into their reservation over the last couple of days and today I noticed they had purchased Memory Maker. There are photographers all over the parks and cameras in a lot of the rides, and with Memory Maker the photos are all free. They automatically get added to a guest Disney account when the system knows their picture has been taken, and the system always knows. Everyone's whereabouts are always known with the magic bands. Well, I opened up their Memory Maker photo album and I swear there are 732 pictures. The first 30 or so are pretty normal. Epcot, a few rides in front of the castle, but the rest are all in It's a Small World. The rides only take 1 picture per go-around, so it appears as though this family has ridden this ride over 700 times. The first picture was pretty normal. Everyone looked happy, it was a busy day, and we had a full car of guests. The next one is rough to look at. The car is empty except for this little family, and they look so darn confused. The next 10 through 15, I can see Dad getting angry, yelling. Mom is holding on to her 2 kids like her life depends on it. And you can see the kids getting increasingly upset, crying, and it goes on and on and on. After 50 or so, it looks like they're trying to get out. In one, the dad is missing. In another, they're all gone. Maybe like they failed early in the ride and tried to walk out, but in the very next one, they're all right back in that damn car. After around 450 or so, I only see the mom and kids. It's just when I look closely, I can see Dad, maybe just his body now, slumped down in one of the other seats. Since about 675, there's just Mom and 1 kid, another body in another seat. The mom and kid aren't moving anymore. I think they're still alive, just damn near catatonic, looking straight ahead, pale. And y'all, I swear on my life, the dolls are moving or something. In some of these pictures, I can tell they aren't where they should be. I even saw one with a doll in the car with this family. I can't look anymore. I'm going to lose my lunch. I closed the album. Its file size has increased since I closed it. God, are there new pictures being added? I see on security cameras that the local police department just arrived, so they'll take over soon. I wish I knew what is going on, but I also wish this damn thing had never landed in my lap. I don't think I'll be able to update this. After I talk to the police, I think I'm going to walk out of here and never come back. I just wanted to get this out there before Disney feeds the media some lies to cover up the reasons behind why a whole family vanished. Because they didn't vanish. I know exactly where they are. Ooh. Crazy, right? Crazy, right? It's pretty nuts. It is pretty nuts. That's a creepypasta. So that's not true, but pretty scary to think about, you know. It is pretty scary to think about. It's like I would be terrified. You're the best storyteller. All I did was read. You know? That was pretty good. They had that ride closed when I was there, and they told us not to go near it. Dude, it's a creepy ride. I heard that story, and when I was at Disney World, that was the only reason I wanted to go on that ride. It's because I wanted to see like how creepy it was. And I went on the ride. It was creepy. It's a very creepy ride. It's very old. There's like there's like apparently like what do you call it? People talk about Disney being kind of shady, you know, and I believe it. Being that big of an empire, Disney definitely probably has a lot of shady stuff going on that they don't even talk about, you know. Aaron, I gotta go. I wish I could stay longer. Bye. But guys, that's going to be like it, I believe, for what do you call it? That's gonna be it for this live stream. Sarah likes beans. Hello. I'm gonna be live again on TikTok soon, so you guys can go check me out there if you want. And you missed the rest of this live stream, you can just go back. It's gonna be up on my channel still. Go back and listen to these scary stories if you want. If not, it's all good. But I'm gonna hop off. You guys are freaking awesome as always, and yeah, if you do, you can get sued, Chris. Exactly. Also, if you want, scribbles.com is the name of my clothing line's like website. It's down in the description below. If you want to support the channel, please go check out those designs. Got a lot of cool designs. I do them on myself, and I think it would be cool for you guys to like wear some of the stuff. But yeah, okay. Well, I will catch you all later. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment if you haven't. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye, everybody.